Welcome to Three to Hardaway, aka the three-man Jalen Weave, aka the best bet three since LeBron D Wade, and Boz live on YouTube on a Tuesday. It is the 1 year anniversary of Three to Hardaway podcast. I can't believe it's been 1 year already. I feel like I was just texting y'all the other day in the Chick-fil-A line, like, "Hey, what's up with this podcast, man? Let's do it." We're trying to figure out some names for the podcast, and we came with Three to Hardaway, and here we are, gentlemen, a complete year later on August 15th. We back at it again. We got a nice show for y'all, so let's get right into it. If you don't know who I am the walking bucket, providing instant offense. It's your boy Savage. Up here, we got the coach on the sidelines, take them to school on and off the court, especially since school is back in now. And when I say it's really shitty, it's really shitty. Shitty, what's good?
Hey man, Candy, we here by the way. Yes, we late. Shout out to Cap and them, their anniversary as well. August 15th, which is a big day. Just real quick, I want to do a platform of positivity. You might know the power of positivity from some other people that wrestle that were cheers at times, right? This power of positivity, and we'll talk about Hall of Fame and all that stuff in a moment. But I just want to give, it's not even flowers, power of positivity for Russell Westbrook. The reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like we criticize him. And I'm saying I'm including myself, about his play, all of us, because there's that aura of being under LeBron, right? Even D Wade didn't do well. Even Isaiah Thomas didn't do well. Even other players have not done well underneath LeBron. But when he left and went to the Clippers, people forgot about how good he was. He still averaged over 20 points a game. He still had over 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and carried the Clippers, who played without their two best players. Russell Westbrook will be a Hall of Famer. First ballot for sure. And he took a pay cut to stay with the Clippers. We need to, and I'm one of them, I'm going on it to say for all of us here at Three the Hardaway, Russell Westbrook, you have our utmost respect at all times. Bad times happen to everybody, but I'm not going to say you do not deserve to be any type of Hall of Famer because of one bad season, a season and a half, when leaving under that aura that is not only LeBron, but LA as well. All right, and that's all I got to say.
Much love to Russell Westbrook. We also got your favorite DJ, Sample Man himself, Mr. Ted Shakir. Toot, what's good?
Not a doggone thing, brother. Happy to be celebrating a 1 year with y'all, man. And you talk about Chick-fil-A. Come on, fatness. Well, you remember that to the exact day, to the exact point, to the exact moment.
Hey, I have, when it comes to food and memories, I have very, very good memory of what I was eating at that particular time. So I talked about before when Kobe hit that game winner over the Suns back in like 2006, I believe, or 7, whichever it was. And they went up 3-1. They lost series in 7 games. We were eating meatloaf, cabbage, yams, cornbread, and I had simply lemonade. I remember that day.
Was it Thanksgiving?
Huh?
Was it Thanksgiving?
Nah, this was like this was playoffs. It was first round
playoff time. Yeah.
It was like April, I think April or May.
At least it was a Sunday. Maybe it was Easter.
It was Sunday for sure because they had on the Sunday whites.
There we go.
Last week. So I remember that.
Man, everything is everything, man. Shout out to my pops who actually today's his birthday, so shout out to him as well. So August 15th is a pretty good day, pretty dope day.
It's a good day, man. It's a good day. It was also a good week for a couple of basketball Hall of Famers. They did have an enshrinement for people that we saw play, at our age, at our younger age, I should say. Pau Gasol got enshrined, of course, former Grizzly, former Laker, most notably a Laker. He won 2 rings with the Lakers. He was enshrined. Dirk Nowitzki, who Shitty knows very well, having played 2 NBA finals against him. Got 1 against him with D Wade, who's also a Hall of Famer, but lost 1 with the Heatles.
There was a segue. Keep going with the segue there. You were doing well.
Speaking of Dwayne Wade is also first ballot. If y'all haven't watched his speech, definitely watch it. He gave kudos to AI, of course, gave kudos to his dad, of course, both, important figures in Dwayne Wade's life. And we've seen Dwayne Wade be a dad, so shout out to Dwayne Wade. Tony Parker, underrated point guard for the San Antonio Spurs dynasty. A lot of people were giving Tony Parker some hate because they feel like he wasn't first ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, go back and watch that finals against LeBron, where Tony Parker was the best player on that court, including LeBron. This is a player that led the league in points in the paint, and I've long said that Ja Morant's game is basically like Tony Parker's, but got way more elevation, way more ups. He's an elite, one of the best scoring point guards in the paint that we've seen in this NBA game. So shout out to Tony Parker. And then speaking of Spurs organization, shout out Becky Hammon, who's the coach of the Las Vegas Aces, the former, I think, San Antonio, what was their name before? Silver Stars, when they was in San Antonio, the WNBA team. She was also a coach on Pop's coaching staff, but I mean, the woman can play too. She played great basketball as well too, one of the best of all time in the women's game. So shout out to those Hall of Famers. Any comments that y'all get from anybody on that list?
You go first, Sheet.
Oh man, Dirk single-handedly had the greatest finals run that we've ever seen. His career was phenomenal. Let's just talk about that playoff run. He beat the Oklahoma City team. He beat with James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. He beat the Lakers team, I believe, as well, who just got done winning the ring the previous season, right? Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant. And the other team was the Blazers, right? Maybe in the first round. Then yeah, took care of business against the Heat, no doubt. We talk about a one-legged fadeaway. I don't know why you don't mention Dirk first. He should go down as arguably the greatest European basketball player, especially right now. I cannot imagine someone else being greater than him for what he's done, along with his longevity with Dallas. He trusted Mark Cuban, and Mark Cuban delivered what Dirk actually needed to not only win a ring, but you talked about earlier, they went to the finals before, right? So Dirk and Mark Cuban, that's something to be said. And there's Nowitzki way, by the way, down the street here. Pau Gasol, his time with trendsetter in regards to, how to play the stretch five greatly. Not that you need to go out there and shoot the three. That's not what he was about, right? He still did the dirty work. He learned his lesson against the Celtics that previous season that made it available for the Lakers to beat the Celtics. A lot of people don't talk about that enough. You already mentioned about Tony Parker. I don't think much more needs to be said besides how underrated he is. The Spurs, Coach Pop, I don't even know why he's even coaching. He's just coaching just to coach at this point. And Becky Hammon is a coach who not only deserves all of her flowers, but deserves to be back in the NBA coaching when she's ready. And I say that right now, whenever she desires to. Dwayne.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
My favorite player on my favorite team, man. Like I was there on the ups and downs. I remember when he got robbed for MVP in 2009, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That kind of ties into some things. He's led a team for decades. It is Wade County. It is all about Dwayne Wade in Miami. I know Jimmy's got it now, but there was no Miami. I mean, of course, there was Tim Hardaway and Lonzo Moore. We talked about this somewhere else before Dwayne Wade, but for years, decades now, honestly, he carried the heat. And that was only just his time there. Even when he came back, right, when he had the Vice jerseys, he still was Dwayne Wade. The most shots blocked by a guard, third best shooting guard of all time. There will be no one greater than him. Yes, he has 3 championships. Yes, 2 of those with LeBron. Yes, Paul Pierce. Yes, you're right. But never forget what he did to the Mavericks, ever. And on top of what he did against the Mavericks in that series, people tend to forget that without D Wade, I don't think LeBron doesn't win the 2 rings in Miami, because it took D Wade to beat a Pacers team, to beat a Bulls team, even to Euro step against Kevin Garnett in the Celtics. It wasn't all LeBron. And D Wade took a step back. He made a sacrifice to get his name enshrined here, to give this team to LeBron. And it turned out to be very great for them. 4 straight finals appearances. The man is phenomenal. I just wish we can find a way to bring him back to the organization and possibly give him a polo.
Goddamn polo. I'll be real brief, man. I think when you talk about age, right, as far as like us basketball fans, not only did we see all of these players come in, but we saw all of these players literally end their careers. And it's like, damn, I'm getting old. Like, it's like, now we definitely seeing it. Just like, start with Pau Gasol, man. If you're from the city of Memphis, you had an opinion on Pau Gasol, whether it was good or not. He did help start the Memphis Grizzlies franchise, and of course went to the Los Angeles Lakers and helped Kobe Bryant win. That's what we can say about a lot of these players. So all the players that we're talking about now is that they're all literal champions. So shout out to Pau Gasol. Still holding it down for Kobe and Gigi in his own way, which is pretty dope to in itself. Shout out, like everything you just said, to Dirk, plus more, the greatest final run we ever seen from any player, and definitely they need to make sure they keep that statue in Dallas. I don't think they got it. They got the statue, right? Make sure y'all keep it clean. Yeah, they got it. Make sure y'all keep that mud clean for sure, because he's deserving of all the praises that he's earned. Of course, Tony Parker held French down. I don't think the French basketball team or French as a whole would be what it is, and his impact, may has not been what it is in America, because he is definitely underrated. We look for certain things, but when you talk about France and him holding his own country down, Tony Parker is that guy. So definitely salute to him. Salute to Becky Hammond, who should be coaching in the NBA, but she was a champion in her own right. Like, we've seen all these players do their thing, and of course you can't forget about number 3, man. I remember high school senior year, I actually went to Dallas, ironically, to watch the All-Star game, and of course, who was the All-Star MVP? One of my favorite players of all time, D-Wade. So that's one of my favorite basketball memories. Just seeing him literally come into the player, and now we're talking about him in the Hall of Fame. And of course, like the tearjerker moment of him, looking at his dad and be like, yo, Dad, we in the Hall of Fame. If you're not familiar with the Wade story, I'm not going to get into it. All I'm going to say is do your research, but just know that was definitely a tearjerker for people that know the Dwayne Wade story. So salute to everybody that made it in the Hall of Fame, man. It's a blessing to see it.
For sure. I actually forgot to mention Coach Pop, who was also in.
Oh, of course, Pop, the greatest coach ever. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
He's still coaching, so I forgot. He's still coaching. And then also, Candy mentioned the 1976 Olympic basketball team, the women's Olympic basketball team. They are also as well. So I want to give them their props.
I think that was like the first team.
I believe so. I believe so. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Hall of Fame class of this year. I'm gonna run through next year's candidates because that class kind of weak, but I just want to hear yes or no from y'all. Is this player a Hall of Fame with the first ballot or fifth ballot? Just
okay.
I'm gonna go through a list. It's like real short. So I'm just yes or no answer. Vince Carter.
Yes.
She says yes. Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to.
We got that one. He got what, 2 or 3?
He got a couple 6-man. He's like one of the best 6 men of all time, man. Like, it's kind of like Devin Hester, where it's like he's the best returner of all time. Like, it's just what he did. That's what he did. So, but I would say no. But I'm
gonna say no for now.
I'm leaning towards yes, so I'm gonna say yes, but we'll have to revisit this. We'll have to revisit this for sure.
Okay. Kyle Korver, no.
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 Joakim Noah.
No.
Okay.
Well, because it's I would say the Basketball Hall of Fame do consist of college as well, and he was a 2-time champion in college.
Well, they have a separate one for college though. They got college, the college one, and the regular one.
But to your point, if it was collegiate,
college, absolutely.
Well, I normally think like Basketball Hall of Fame as overall. So
just pro basketball Hall of Fame.
Pro basketball.
Tyson Chandler, no.
I love Tyson.
He's qualified for it.
But that's one of my favorite bigs of all time too. But sorry, Tyson.
Okay. Sorry, JJ Barea.
Next slide.
All right, and these are people who are already eligible. Larry Faust, he's apparently supposed to get in. I don't know much about Larry Faust. I don't know if y'all know Larry Faust. Chauncey Billups.
Yes.
I lean yes towards Chauncey.
I lean yes. If I lean yes for Jamal, I gotta lean yes for Chauncey.
I lean yes.
Definitely got to,
Okay. Sean Marion.
I can't see it.
He getting his number retired. Him and Stoudemire getting a number retired.
I think that's good enough. Mm-hmm. And I'll be at the game. Look, and I'll be at the game. No disrespect to the Matrix, because we live in one.
So that's good enough right there.
Look, I'll be there. I'll pull up. I'll spend money to see a jersey retire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And speaking of Stoudemire, Amar Stoudemire.
Nah,
I say no.
In the same boat.
Sean Kemp, he's been eligible for a while. So I say
if
no.
He ain't got in now.
Oh.
And last,
next year class week, so he may get a chance.
It might just be Vince and Chauncey Billups at this rate.
That's what we saying for sure. We need to bring somebody else to the
I mean, I don't
minimum.
I don't know if there are any women or any teams or coaches that are eligible, but players is weak. It's very weak. Last one is Jermaine O'Neal, and I'll say no.
She got a Hall of Fame punch, but nah. Nah. Hall of Fame moment. Hall of Fame moment, but I don't know about the Hall of Fame. Hell of a player.
But VC for sure. Chauncey,
yes.
more than likely. Everybody else, I'm like, I don't know.
That's an interesting class there.
All right, so let's segue into NBA trivia. I'm gonna go first. Normally, I don't have trivia because I rely on Toop to provide the trivia for us. But I have my own trivia. So we are about or close to 10 years removed from Kevin Durant winning the MVP. So that was 2013-14 season. That is almost 10 years removed. And I actually saw something on Twitter that kind of made me go back and reconsider, like, how good was this player? And I was like, damn, I guess he was pretty good. I remember it, but not to that extent. So what I want y'all to do is for the 2013-14 season, aside from Kevin Durant, who won the MVP, name me the 4 players that finished in the top 5 of the 13-14 MVP for that season. So Kevin Durant
out the way.
LeBron was number 2. Yep, LeBron's number
2. I want to say Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard is not on this list at all. Not in the top 17 from what I see.
Not in the top 17.
He's nowhere near MVP.
My fault. You said 13-14. My fault.
Yeah, 13-14. So I know it's hard, but just
Paul George.
Paul George was 9, so not in the top 5.
Brandon Roy?
Nope, nowhere on the list.
Okay, Paul
13-14.
I'll give y'all a hint. 2 big men, 1 guard.
In 2013-2014. Damn.
Mm-hmm. That's my only hint too. I ain't give you no more.
2 big.
I need to see the teams. I need
to see some teams.
I need to see the roster.
Like, you gotta be like this 10 years ago, bro. I barely remember what I did yesterday.
Talk to him, man. Hold on. I need to see rosters. I just need to see teams. I promise I'm not cheating. I know Candy gonna be in the comments like, you cheating. No.
You don't, Candy.
10 years ago. 10 years ago. Kawhi was with the Spurs. So Kawhi
is not on this list.
2013. Damn.
What about Tim Duncan?
Tim Duncan is on here at 12, tied at 12 with a teammate.
Wow, tied with a teammate.
Yep.
You are hurting my feelings here.
Tied with Tony Parker, the Hall of Famer, at 12.
2013.
Was
my boy Kyrie ain't on there, is it?
Kyrie just got drafted like 2 years before that. He ain't on that list.
Yeah, about it.
LeBron wasn't even back yet.
Shit, he won 24. No, I'm thinking 2014. I'm gonna say Kyrie won MVP, also MVP 1 year. It was 2013, 2014. One of them years.
He ain't on this list.
Man. I don't even know who was good, man.
Nah, it couldn't have been
Kobe? Paul? Blake Griffin?
Blake Griffin is at 3. That's who I
saw.
Thank
you. Okay, God damn.
Like, damn, Blake Griffin was 3rd in MVP. I'm like, damn.
Oh.
That's what Chris Paul had him turned though.
Yeah, he did. I remember that. I'm like, damn, he was turned though. He like 20. I think he was rookie.
So what we got? KD. We got.
So here's top 3:
Blake
Kevin
Griffin.
Durant, LeBron, Blake. Now give me 4 and 5.
Clippers, Suns, Kings.
Darren Williams.
Nope.
Yeah, I thought
it's not Chris Paul.
The big man is in the Eastern Conference. The guard is in the Western Conference.
Big man is in the Eastern Conference.
Boston have nobody. Philadelphia have nobody.
What up, Chris?
The Knicks. Amari Stoudemire.
But I'm gonna go with DeAndre Jordan because he was doing a monster game that year.
No, he said in the East.
He was going. Oh, in the East. Okay, yeah.
Big man in the East.
11 years. Damian Lillard?
Nope.
Think
about a good team in the early 2010s. Think about a good team that was always good, well coached. He actually, I ain't gonna that gives it away.
Man, you're gonna have to give it away at this point, bro. You're gonna have to be going for it.
Think about a good team in the East in the 2010s. Just think about a good team that was always steady, always good.
You're not gonna tell me Kevin Garnett.
Roy Hibbert?
No, not to both of them. No.
Okay. Thank God.
You think you're missing one team that was always good in 2010, always good, had an always good top to bottom roster.
Nets. The Hawks didn't have nobody.
I can't believe y'all right now. I'm giving y'all live passes and y'all ain't catching them, man.
No.
In the East, and they were good.
Yes, there was a good team, always well coached. Their coach is still coaching in the NBA today.
Hey, we probably didn't said the answer too.
Yeah, I ain't said the answer yet. I would have heard.
Hey man, can you just give us the team, man, and we can try to figure this out? Okay. Because we're about to be here for about 2 hours on this trip.
I can't believe y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna find some new co-hosts. Can't believe y'all.
But at least we're not cheating. We could have cheated.
I respect it. Okay, so that the team is in the same division as the Pacers.
Are you gonna tell me that? Okay, now I gotta do this. Division, same team as the Pacers. So
same division as Pacers.
Cavs, Bulls, Pistons.
It is not the Dwight Howard. That's crazy. Not the Dwight Howard. He was doing his thing.
I know. The Bucks. I mean, it could have been Giannis. So
look in that division. Who was good in the 2010s? Who was good? Oh my God.
I mean, who? The Bulls?
Yes. And who was the player? Who was the big man?
No.
Joakim Noah was fourth in MVP voting.
No.
In 2013-14.
That's why he's on this ballot. No.
He was what? I never would have known that.
He was in again. I was like, damn, what kind of ballot is this, bro? Imagine like that ballot, like I guess now you got Joker and B, but like the big man, like Joakim Noah is the MVP. That means Jaren would be the MVP right now.
So if this was 2012, he averaged 12 and 11.
And he averaged, where is it?
No, 13, 14.
He averaged 13 points and 11 rebounds.
Okay, so 13, 14. Yeah, almost that's it.
And he was hooping, man. For his position, he was hooping.
Hey, listen, too, you can't be mad at what they say is MVP because y'all gotta remember how I feel about Steve Nash and what he did.
Whoa.
No,
whoa.
We're just talking about the numbers.
Whoa, no.
15 and 11.
You respect Steve Nash. Respect him. And the last one, James Harden. It was James Harden. That's all that it was. James Harden.
Oh, I say James Harden early though.
I stumped y'all. Y'all got
you did.
Yeah, you got us. You got us.
Okay, I go next, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, segue was perfect for you, Savage.
Okay.
And two, clearly. James Harden, right? It's come out, talked about all this stuff about Daryl Morey. Name me the 3 other players that have been signed by Daryl Morey for the Rockets and the 76ers.
So PJ, right?
That's one automatically off the
PJ.
Chris Paul.
Nope.
No, Chris Paul was traded. No man.
So PJ.
He said the other 3.
Yeah, so we got PJ Tucker out the way. That's not even his real name. I forget what his real name is, but yep.
PJ.
It wasn't Clint Capella, was it?
Nah.
PJ for Tucker. This one, because I don't want us to go a long time, I'll give some help because we got some stuff to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Took, you wanted this player to be with the Grizzlies.
DeMar?
Nope. Not as good as DeMar. These are role players, by the way. Pat Bev.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, he did. Huh?
There's one more.
Okay.
And I'm just going to give you this name because he's a bum to me. Daniel House.
I never got that. I never got that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have got that with you.
Yep. That's it.
That's who he signed. Okay.
Sheesh. Yeah, we definitely gonna talk about more and his wonderful signings. Mine's I found from Legion Hoops. Shout out to Legion Hoops. It was a fun fact. Who was the winningest player in NBA history? Again, who is the winningest player percent-wise in NBA history? I give you a hint. He had a teammate in the Hall of Fame this past week.
Oh, I was like,
my bad. This past week he had a teammate inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Winningest player.
I give y'all 2 guesses because, like I said, we
Robert Horry?
No.
Okay.
Tim Duncan?
No, but ironically, he played with both of them, so I guess that's a giveaway too.
Play with Robert Horry and Tim Duncan?
Mm-hmm.
Not Ginobili.
No.
Ginobili?
Boom. Ginobili.
Damn.
Robert Horry played on the Spurs.
He did.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So yes, Ginobili, he's the winningest player in NBA history with winning 72% of his games.
I believe it.
72%.
When he plays, like you can go back to that Grizzlies when they lost to the Grizzlies. They lost some games because Ginobili was hurt, man. Like when he played, he averaged like 22 a game off the bench, bro. Like dude be hooping, man. Dude be hooping.
I feel like, and he was like he was the most instrumental star to come off the bench. He really, I feel like, started.
He brought the Euro step.
Kept it going, man.
There's no Euro step without Ginobili.
Yes.
Kept it going, man. Speaking of Euro steps, man, James Harden has Euro stepped away from his relationship with Daryl Morey, which is the title of this episode is Daryl Morey a liar? I mean, we saw James Harden go out. He's in China somewhere where Daryl Morey is obviously hated. He's enemy number one because of his relations or whatever he said about Hong Kong. Whatever. I don't even know. I know they don't like him in China. So James Harden strategically went to China, has a basketball camp with like little 10-year-old kids who have no idea what's going on with him and Daryl Morey. He went out there and said, consecutively, Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that involves him. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, James Harden and Daryl Morey are like this. They were buddy, a package deal in Houston, and that's why Daryl Morey is now here in Philadelphia. Obviously, James Harden's time in Philadelphia was very tumultuous, vocabulary word for the day. And now James Harden has about-faced, vocabulary word for the day, and has decided to say, hey, in so many words, he's saying either trade me or fire Daryl Morey, because apparently there was a wink under the table deal where James Harden would opt in and then be traded, and now Daryl Morey is not trading him, or James Harden wanted his money, but he ain't getting his money, so he wanted to get the hell up out of this. So we've talked about James Harden extensively on this podcast and on LBR. I know too tired of it, but on this podcast, we all have said that they had the perfect storm of Doc Rivers, who's gone, Daryl Morey, who's about to be gone, and James Harden, who's also about to be gone. So, just go ahead and say what you got to say, man. I'm going to let you have the floor. Go for it.
I'm sick of this shit. But to answer the question of the subject of the title of this podcast, is Daryl Morey a liar? No. Okay. I would say that. Is he a bomb GM? Hell yes. Don't get me started. Is he goofy as hell? Hell yes. But is he a liar? Nah, not really. And the thing that I want people to understand and more with the morals is hurt people. What y'all need to understand is going back then, right? James Harden left OKC because the OKC manager, Sam Presti, didn't want to pay him $3 million more. Of course, that made OKC look stupid, but in a way, it kind of made Harden look like, all right, Harden, you putting a lot of balls in your court, no pun intended. Let's see what you're going to do. Daryl Morey believed in him, and he said, all right, let's come over here with Houston. We got analytics going out the ass. We know what you can do if you got the ball in your hand 9 times out of 10 times. It worked for the most part. He ended up getting a $200 million contract. He ended up getting an MVP. And he ended up, becoming a strip club Hall of Fame. We're talking about a Hall of Fame. He ended the strip club Hall of Fame in Houston because of Daryl Morey. Where things get sour for people that understand and why hurt people is this. James Harden forced his way out of Philly. I mean, out of Houston to go to Brooklyn. For one, if you paid attention to that situation, I told y'all back then it's literally the same exact situation that is going on now. And what happened was Daryl Morey waited to the last minute to trade James Harden, and he ended up getting 2 sneakers and a couple Skittles back for him. If you look and see what the Rockets did with those picks for James Harden, they essentially gave him away. And who was the manager? Daryl Morey. Now James Harden is with the Nets. The Nets like, all right, you with your boy Kevin Durant. We see what we can do over here with Kyrie. We're going to give you a $200 million contract. Go ahead and sign it. James Harden said, nah. Now it's like, damn. Now let me force my way out to another team that I can try to finesse and finagle. Let me make my way over to Philly. And now he's with Philly. And then the guy that he loves so much, that loves him the same way, allegedly, is in Philadelphia. And Everybody on this podcast said as soon as that happened, all hell is about to break loose. I knew from the jump, as soon as Daryl Morey, as soon as really James Harden joined Doc Rivers as a rap. And now you got an incompetent general manager in Philly that you got calling the shots. Nah. So for you to go to a city where he's not welcome and call a country where he's not welcome and appreciated and really much hated, and to call him out like that, James Harden, we all kind of looking at you like, hold on, bro. Because you wanted $40-50 million a season, which you could have had if you would have signed that dotted line in Brooklyn. You didn't get that. And now because whatever this wink week situation that could have happened with Daryl Morey, the guy who believed in you from the jump, you made a situation worse than what it had to be. So now he's trying to fight his way out of Philly. And now my guy, Joel Embiid, who I told you from the jump, again, Savage, get ready, from the jump, get out of Philadelphia. So I say that to say this, James Harden, you you can't cash a check and try to write it too because you're not that good of a player anymore. 2 years from now, we're going to be talking about how James Harden could be in 6 man of the year conversation. You trying to still get $40-50 million a season. You're taking a step back and you still trying to take a paycheck up. It's not going to do it, bro. I can't wait to see what happens in Philly. But as far as Joel Embiid, the MVP coming into this season, I already said it enough, but Savage, go ahead and hit me with it.
Run!
Run, Joel. Run as far as you can. Run. Get the hell on out of Philadelphia because all hell is literally about to break loose, and he literally just won MVP last season.
In an era where social media is extremely dominant and what players say is magnified, we do not magnify whatever owners say as often as much because they're more quieter than others. I have no idea, James Harden, what that conversation was behind closed doors with you and Daryl Morey. But what I do know is as of June 30th, 2023, you decided to opt in to that contract. I don't believe you're trying to help out Philadelphia to get recruits from the Clippers because the Clippers ain't giving nothing but maybe Norman Powell and somebody else maybe back. If you really wanted to play for the Clippers, then you shouldn't have opted into the deal. And you should have chose some other team that you want to be a part of. You don't call someone a liar now, a month later after signing a contract with them when you've been with them for years. If this person has been a liar or is a liar and has been a liar, then you wouldn't have said, yes, I'm going to stay here. Or yes, I want to force myself out of this Brooklyn situation to Philadelphia. So to me, this is James Harden crying wolf. James Harden wanted front page news. It's James Harden is always doing something stupid to garnish attention for himself so that he can get what he wants. He's like a child. You got a child. Jenna gonna cry because she want her way. Eva gonna cry, just had her birthday, because she wants her way. Alea gonna cry because she wants her way.
His favorite rapper, Lil Baby.
It ain't Lil Bootsy, because you can't wipe him down.
Conspiracy. Conspiracy. That's his best friend, Lil Baby. That makes so much more sense.
It is, man. He's crying, and he's crying like a little baby. Like, legitimately, man, if you really wanted to be with the Clippers, you would have been with the Clippers already. You would have if you really wanted to play with Russell Westbrook, if you really wanted this, then you should have literally not signed a deal on June 30th. You know the owner's going to talk. So now it's over for you. And there's like clauses in this contract as he can't even play for nobody else unless it is actually the 76ers. So realistically, you got your ass told, James Harden. So what you going to do now? Because I don't see them really moving anything. And I hear you about James Harden, about Joel Embiid leaving. I honestly would like Joel Embiid to stay, Tyrese Maxey to stay, and get rid of all of this unnecessariness that's been surrounded around them and try to, I don't know if this is a process anymore, but try to see what they got. But no one's going to trade for James Harden. Maybe they will. Watch it, BS. Trade for James Harden, but James Harden, this is your fault at the end of the day. I'm not even gonna put it any other way because I got some other references. But I'm gonna keep. I went to church on Sunday. I've been praising the Lord every day, so I'm gonna keep it as holy as possible.
Look, somebody said the Clippers didn't want to trade Terrence Mann for James Harden. That should let you know his value right there. Because the Clippers realistically could get him.
All I know is I need everybody to apologize to Ben Simmons because
what?
Everybody needs to apologize to Ben Simmons because he peeped game early on and saw that Philadelphia was a toxic environment. Has there been any amount of like stability in Philadelphia since the beginning of the process? Seriously, has there been any stability? They drafted Jahlil Okafor, they drafted Markelle Fultz, they drafted Michael Carter Williams, they drafted Joel, who sat out for a year. Ben Simmons sat out for a year, and then Ben Simmons, in the midst of his injury, in the midst of him playing well, all-star, all-defensive, all-NBA team, the city shitted on him, the team shitted on him, Joel constantly shitted on him, and it's like now he's happy, allegedly, in Brooklyn with Mikal Bridges. We'll see how it pans out.
He still ain't gonna play.
He gonna play. Relax. He gonna play. I told you he gotta play. He got to this year. But Philadelphia is in a rough spot right now because James Harden is basically saying, I run this team now, get rid of Daryl Morey. And what you don't want is the inmates running the asylum. Your best player, Joel Embiid, the MVP, is the most immature player arguably in the league right now. That's your leader. That is finest, bro. Like, that is a bad situation that I personally, as I'm still not on Ben Simmons bandwagon again just yet. I'm just saying. I'm happy he is out of that predicament. I'm happy, but I need everybody to apologize to Ben Simmons because he peeped game a while ago. He peeped game.
Not on the Ben Simmons bandwagon, but peep game Ben Simmons. I don't know which one you want me to do. At this point, I am about to start calling you a Lakers fan.
Damn near, huh?
I'm not a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
I know this.
All right, cool. I'll apologize to Ben Simmons. Like, you know me, that's my guy too. I want him to succeed, but until he make an All-Star game again or hit a damn three, I ain't apologizing for a goddamn thing.
Y'all gonna see it this year. But everybody, if you watching and listening, be ready to apologize to Ben Simmons. Anyway, let's move on to the FIBA World Cup where they actually are playing basketball. I've watched a little bit of Team USA. A lot of people before the FIBA World Cup actually commenced, they were kind of iffy about the team because it's a very young roster, a lot of young players. And from what I saw, at least in game one for sure, I was happy with what I saw from Jaren Jackson Jr. I was happy with what I saw in game two from Jalen Brunson. And again, these are all pre-season exhibition type of games. And they actually, pull the rankings up real quick. They actually have Spain number 1, USA number 2, Australia number 3, Argentina number 4, France number 5, 6 is Serbia, Slovenia is 7, and then 8 is Lithuania, 9 is Greece, and 10 is Italy. So USA, despite having an inferior roster, is still number 2 behind Spain, which they did beat in an exhibition. But do y'all have any concerns about Team USA, and do you think they'll win the FIBA World Cup?
I have my concerns looking at the roster because I kind of didn't know how they fit. I didn't know who the starters would be. I didn't know how the flow would be. I didn't know how the energy would be. But looking at this team, honestly, it looks a lot more smooth watching them than any other team that I've watched previously. And what I mean by that is of course, there's a lot of talent on this roster, but I don't think they play with too much of an ego. One thing I was worried about was how Jalen Brunson, because he is a score first point guard, how he fit in his role, and we're looking like we're watching a star, turn right before our eyes, to be honest with you. I don't know how other players would fit, but Brandon Ingram is turning up defensively. Of course, Ant-Man he said he coming for MVP next season, and damn it, y'all better put some respect on him and the Timberwolves name.
He damn near that dude was hooping. That dude hooping.
So y'all didn't have the Timberwolves in the playoffs. So again, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later this show just to make sure. But Jaren Jackson Jr., even offensively, he's looking like he can take the next step offensively. So the thing is, I was just about to say, the thing is that may stop this team from overall success will be honestly Steve Kerr. That's another thing I was worried about because he does have Steve Kerr coming into that Steph Curry role as far as like getting him the ball, making sure he's scoring, making sure he, get the ball in his hand and try to do what he can, like the Warriors do with Steph. I think that may hurt us in the long run, but it's working right now. And I think to max with that, Tyrese Halliburton coming off the bench, being that spark plug, being that kind of glue guy that most teams will need to be successful. I think, overall, they're going to continue to be successful. And I do expect us, maybe to get to go at least to silver. But I do like what I'm watching. But yeah, stop playing Paulo at the 5. Even though he can rebound most times, we finna go against some height and them big boys that's doing it way longer than Paulo. Let's not put him at the 5, Steve. Are you're absolutely right, Candy. Oh no, he had to go.
I guess we lost.
Oh no, he had to go.
So now we're doing a 2-man game. But yeah, the only team that I see that could probably give them trouble as far as Team USA is I would say Spain. Here comes she right here. Welcome back, she. Let me get everybody in their assigned seats again. But yeah, I was talking about Spain, and they did play Spain the other day, and they did win. Granted,
Right.
I'm assuming they weren't at full power just yet, but I mean, what I'm saying from Team USA is you do have an up and coming Anthony Edwards. You do have Jaren Jackson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year. You do have Jalen Brunson, who's playing well. A lot of people are saying that they probably could have used like a Trae Young type of player. I mean, I guess I don't think it really matters with Trae Young. Like his game is more predicated on having the ball, not necessarily moving the ball. And with Steve Kerr, he wants ball movement. That's what he wants. And we've seen a lot of spread out scoring. And the thing about FIBA and even Olympic ball is that players are more inclined to pass the ball, even though Jaren was like wide open several times in the paint and they wasn't feeding him the ball then. I do want to see him kind of take that anger that he has and implement it once the season starts. But anyway, I think Trae Young wouldn't have fit. And right now, I think the team is good. I mean, I feel confident in this team going into FIBA play. And I think Silver is like, nah, y'all got to win. Because I feel like they have a great roster compared to everybody else. They're young, and you got a vet in Bobby Portis that can kind of coach you up. You got great coaches. It should be no excuse for y'all to not win the FIBA World Cup. Go ahead, Sheedy, since you disappeared for a second.
No, and I think the point you're making about the coaches is why Trae Young shouldn't have been asked, because these coaches believe in ball movement. Even Eric Spoelstra, like we stuck the ball at all times. We kept the ball moving. And so to me, I mean, we've already talked about Anthony Edwards, ad nauseum right at this point, vocab word. But he's wearing what number? Number 10. He's a leader. And I think he's really taking the next step to being a leader, not only for this FIBA team, but also possibly his Timberwolves. And the name that you just mentioned, Bobby Big Eye Portis. I love to see how aggressive he becomes. And Paolo at the 5, bring in Walker, Texas Ranger, bring in Bobby Portis, because you're going to need some physicality. And I think that could be the one thing that this team doesn't have, or doesn't have as much of, right, is the physicality. Because that's not Brunson's game. That's not B.I.'s game. That's not really Anthony Edwards' game. It's not a lot of players' game. But when you talk about Walker, Texas Ranger, or Big Eyes, they're physical players. And they're going to need some time on the court, whether it's against Spain. I know we mentioned Australia. It's got a pretty decent team, too, with Josh Giddey and company. And so those players are going to do well and be part of this. You're right. Anything less than gold is not doable. But also, this is also when relationships start getting built for contracts to be up and people going to certain teams. And so I'll leave it at that for sure. But I just want to give a shout out to those players that we kind of didn't mention yet, that to me are going to be impactful players. People didn't think D-Wade might do as well as he did, or Carmelo Anthony, when it was their time to do like the Redeem team, not the FIBA team. D-Wade led the team in points in a year. Carmelo Anthony was legit the best scorer, and you had Kobe and LeBron. Everyone's playing a role this year, and I think they look back at some teams that did that before. Kudos to them. But Steve, Eric, rest of the guys, anything less than gold is unacceptable.
We got to salute Savages, Lakers, Austin Reeves too. Even balling. He's arrived. They say he's arrived.
Stamp him. Underpaid stamp.
You on mute, my guy?
There was a reason.
I should have been on mute. I actually like Austin Reeves, y'all. I'm glad he didn't get broke off with his check. No, 100 M's, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. But see, you mentioned Dwayne Wade, Carmelo, and LeBron and Kobe, which was a conversation we had in the group me earlier in the week. Now, it's not the complete roster. We had a 5-on-5 roster, which we can talk about here. It was a dream team versus redeem team, I guess, graphic. And they had Magic Johnson at the 1, Jordan at the 2, Barkley at the 3, or I guess big 3, Karl Malone at the 4, and Pat Ewing at the 5. And the redeem team had Wade at point, Kobe at shooting guard, Melo and LeBron at the 4, and Dwight Howard at center. Which team are y'all taking? The dream team or the redeem team?
With the five, because we had this other conversation about who was actually on the roster, but we're just talking about the graphic itself.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, this is also a year after Charles Barkley came off his MVP campaign.
I believe so.
Jordan just won his first finals. Magic still had AIDS.
Jordan didn't win yet.
He didn't win it yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And then what was the other one?
Karl Malone and Pat.
Yeah, Karl Malone. Karl Malone was coming into himself. He wasn't the Karl Malone that was the MVP. And Patrick Ewing was just Patrick Ewing. After the 2008 Redeem team, you saw Kobe go get the finals. Or he didn't just have a finals run actually against the Celtics and lost. So he was playing a little bit differently. D Wade, that sparked him to have an MVP campaign that following season. Carmelo was the best scorer and highest scorer on the team. Dwight Howard, even, that's why I mentioned him earlier, had a phenomenal season. I'm actually going to go, based upon the graphic, I'm going to go with the Redeem team, based upon the graphic that was shown. I don't believe there's enough talked about how well those players played again. And again, based upon the graphics I don't think there's enough credit given to Charles Barkley either, because we just see him as fat and messing up. But he was an MVP, right? And so give me the Redeem team. I don't care if you call it a 7-game series or one-on-one. I don't really care. And I get it. You're all, well, not y'all, but people are going to say, oh, well, Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time. Yes. And last time I checked, the greatest player of all time did not win every single game, nor did he win every single series. So with that stated, give me the Redeem team, that 5 in that graphic. Make sure you display that graphic, Savage, so you know what we're talking about. We ain't just talk. Now we adding, some other players, and there might be a different conversation. But with that graphic that was stated, give me the Redeem team. And plus, I'm sorry, before you go, the Redeem team, I'm so sorry. I believe the Redeem team was much hungrier than the Dream team was.
Agreed.
I ignored Sheedy when he said that. I ignored him when he said that. I just kept it and just said, you know what? I'm not even gonna respond. But go ahead.
Speaking of Magic did take a year off from playing basketball completely before he joined that Dream team. So that's another thing to put in for reference. You hit it right on the nose. Michael Jordan, easily the best player to ever play this game of basketball, but he didn't win by himself. He didn't win alone. So, and we're looking at the teammates of his, which of course were coming into their own. But if you look at this Redeem team, these were players who were kind of already established and were already establishing themselves. I mean, you got, like I said, Dwayne Wade, who actually came off the bench, and Savage, Sheedy, you said that Carmelo led in scoring. It was actually D Wade coming off the bench that led the Redeem team in scoring, and the fact that he's in this makes this all alone better. Like, ain't no Magic Johnson taking a year off and he finna try to guard D Wade. Okay. You got Kobe, like I said, who literally won the NBA Finals the following season. Carmelo Anthony, Mr. Captain America himself, does have 3 gold medals. Salute to him. LeBron, can't say nothing about him. And then Dwight Howard, who was literally a top 5 player that year, rounding out their paint. So I gotta go Redeem team. And that's why, like, I was kind of like in the message, like making sure for reference, we just talking about this lineup and not the overall teams, because then that'll be a different conversation in which I still may roll redeem. But
I was like, look, I'm looking at the rosters right now. I'm like, hey man, this redeem team had a squad, bro. Like, the dream team, of course, all-time greats. But I mean, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, Darren Williams, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Michael Redd, Melo, Tayshaun, LeBron, Boozer, Dwight, Chris. These are all-time greats too. I mean, it's up there, man. I feel like you can have that conversation at minimum, but you got Kobe and LeBron same team, dog. Kobe and LeBron. And, I mean, of course, Jordan over there, Magic, Bird, but hey, I can't make a vote, man. I'm sorry, I can't make a vote. It's hard.
Yeah, you can. I mean, just consider the circumstances. And mostly all of the players on the dream team was either old as hell or coming into their own. Like I said, Jordan didn't win his first championship yet. Larry Bird was on the bench, like not on the bench, on the floor because his back was hurt.
Kobe had one either. LeBron had one yet either.
So, LeBron, I mean, Kobe won his 3 first.
I mean, like Kobe had one alone yet, quote unquote.
Okay, I got you.
That whole conversation.
People forget Dwight Howard and then went to the finals against Kobe and them too, by the way.
Yeah, but that was after the redeem team.
Yeah, that's where the seeds were planted.
Right. So, but I mean, if I had to pick one, based on the lineup, I would pick the redeem team because I feel like this is way superior roster. Just for the 5 anyway. Melo, Kobe, D Wade, and LeBron. It's like, all right, man. Like who you guarding 1-on-1? Because all of them gonna get you 1-on-1. Not to mention Dwight getting every rebound. You know what I'm saying? So, Tyler said Jordan had 2 rings. I don't know. I'm about to say, like, wait a minute, I don't sound right. But
he also said never mind too. Like, hold on.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I was like, I don't think he had 2 rings.
Make sure you post that. Make sure you post it. Never mind.
Right. I said never mind. I ain't want to call him out. But he said never mind.
You good, Tyler? We got your back, dog.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna go redeem team. And we ain't got to get into the all time because that's an extensive conversation for another day. But I think for that roster, I would pick the redeem team just because I'm like, hey, that's too much firepower on one starting 5, I would say. So, all right, let's move on to the last segment, NBA playoff teams. So last year we did an episode where we talked about teams that didn't make the playoffs that could make it the next year and teams that made the playoffs and were going to miss it the following year or had a high chance of missing it the following year. So last year I think it went really well with the teams that we projected. Of course, I mean, we all just guessing. Things could change depending on people get traded, whatever. So we're going to do it again this year. We're going to pick just one team to make it and one team to miss it. I want to hear Sheedy first, man. Sheedy, what you got? You good at this stuff.
No, I'm not good, man.
Yes, you are. Yeah, you are. You said Kings and Jazz, man. You was on point early.
Thank you, man. I hope they will redeem themselves. Look at that word. We can start out east. The Nets won't be in the playoffs. You're going to scratch them off however you want to. You can make that face. I know you're hoping for Ben Simmons to come back, but they will not be in the playoffs. And I'm talking about playoffs. I'm not talking about playing team that make, 9-10. You asked me for playoffs. When they, 1 through 8 is seeded, I do not see the Nets. I do see the Pacers in the East making the playoffs, especially with Halliburton having a full season, stuff like that. And so I'll go there. Do you want me to keep going to the West or y'all want to do East?
I want to respond to the Nets one, but I'm gonna leave it alone because I'm gonna let the season just play out, and y'all gonna see what happens. That's what I'm gonna say. But I'm with you on the pace. I'm with you there. But the Nets, I feel like we're sleeping on Mikal Bridges. Continuity is important, man. An off season, a training camp, working together. Camaraderie. Mikal Bridges is playing. Is he playing? He's playing FIBA, right? Yeah, playing FIBA. So like, he's gonna get better too, man.
Two of the Brooklyn Nets players are playing in FIBA, but we didn't mention them at all. Why is that?
I don't know. We just forgot.
Okay. Right. Well, I was just asking the question. I was just pondering.
Give it a chance, man. He getting residual growth from being around the team. Even though Mikal Bridges did struggle in one of them games. But it's growth that's gonna happen. Just watch.
Like the Cam Johnson throw. So I guess I'll go to the West then. the West is hard because we did mention this team and one of these players. And I mean, the West is so loaded. It's kind of like if you go to the NFL, the AFC is so loaded, and the NFC is a little bit easier to muddle through a little bit more. I'm going to remove the Timberwolves as the AFC because I believe the other 7 teams, Lakers, Warriors, Clippers, Suns, Kings, Grizzlies, Nuggets, will be fine. The other team that I thought of, I'm not going to lie to you, the only other team that I thought about not putting in there, and I'll say this out loud, so I don't care if y'all take it, was going to be the Clippers because they never played together. But Tyronn Lue is too good. So anyways, I got the Timberwolves out. And I mean, come on now. There can't be another season. There won't be another season where Kyrie and Luka aren't in the playoffs. And so sign me up for them in, the Timberwolves out.
I ain't even got no help, but you're talking about Kyrie and Luka. And okay, that's a conversation for another day, I guess. So for me, honestly, putting everything together and everything we literally just said on this podcast, it's a part of me that feel like the Sixers won't make the playoffs next year. If you're not able, for one, you got to consider who's calling the shots. Like I've been saying, it's the goddamn Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey is literally going to trade, if he does trade James Harden, trade him for nothing. Literally, I'm telling y'all that right now. Why? Because he's done it before. And before I continue, Tyler, you're absolutely right. My apologies. Jordan did have 2 rings that year before he joined the my bad. You're absolutely right. He did beat Phoenix in 1992. You're absolutely right. My bad, basketball fans. Pimps mess up, and we take accountability on this podcast, and it's all good. We're going to keep it pushing. But you also got to put in, going back to the Sixers, you also got to consider that, hey, even though Joel did have an MVP season, he did have some help from James Harden, who was putting up 20 and 10. James Harden looking like, again, he's not going to play for them. Cool. For 2, you lost depth in a way. Like, who you bringing back this summer? I mean, for the next season. So all in all, I think they're going to miss the playoffs. And damn it, I've been telling y'all since last year, playoff Pistons. I'm telling y'all that look, they got one of the worst records before, but one of their best players was out the entire year. And now he's coming back. Y'all know I love me some 3rd-year point guards. Cade Cunningham is that nigga. Excuse my French, but we saw what he was doing against Team USA. He's coming for vengeance. He's coming for blood. He will be an all-star this year. And that roster from top to bottom is one of the better younger teams in the NBA. They're going to be in a play-in, and they're going to end up busting somebody upside the head for that playoff spot. Playoff Pistons. Mark my words.
That's two good ones. Sixers, that never came to mind for them to miss the playoffs. First of all,
I would have said that's too easy. They ain't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, first of all, I would love to see them miss playoffs just to see what happens. Like, I just want to see what happens from that standpoint. Pistons going from the outhouse to the penthouse, that's interesting.
I mean, look who they got the coach too.
That's true. That's a fair point. I mean, they're gonna improve. They have to improve because 17 games is bad. That's worse than the NBA. So I hope I would love to see it. But
I saw Thompson to be top 3 rookie of the year vote. I'm telling you now.
Okay.
Telling you now.
Let me add what Tuka's saying in regards to Daryl Morey. Remember, Daryl Morey, we're talking about traded James Harden and Russell Westbrook almost at the same time, within the same time frame, and retooled the team differently to where we're at now. So I hear you what you're saying about the 76ers. I like that stepping out of the box pick there because it could very well happen because the track history is definitely there for Daryl and company.
Okay. Not mad at it. I would love to see both scenarios happen. I really would.
And I got to do a Western team, right?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, crap. Western team. The Timberwolves will make the playoffs, so stop the cap there.
Okay.
Oh, I did think about this. I've been said this on this podcast. The Grizzlies will not be making the playoffs next year. I'm going to stand hold to that. I will stand true to that. I've said that before. I don't think we went into it. See, I missed the episode, and shout out to Lito for coming in and taking over. You did, yeah. I was going to say all this on that episode, but job missing those games are going to hurt us. The fact that we lose depth with Tyus Jones is gonna hurt us. And I love me some Derrick Rose, but he's coming into a system which he doesn't know. We've questioned Taylor Jenkins on this podcast on whether he can keep the flow going. Last but not least, we still don't have a goddamn closer on the team. We would like for it to be Desmond Bane because he's the highest paid player, but until he showed me, I'm not gonna believe it. Therefore, everybody's taking a step up. Ja missing them 25 games back. Leave them guns alone, young fella. That's gonna hurt us. The Grizzlies will not make the playoffs this season, and if they do, I would love to eat my words. Of course, I'm a Knicks fan.
Okay, time out. What's their record if they miss playoffs? Like what?
Even if they finish, they can finish 500 ball and not make the playoffs. Oh, let me look up the standings from last year real quick.
Yeah, last year the worst record was like in the like play in was like 40-42. That was a Thunder.
Yeah, so you got to finish 500. If your best player on a weaker roster. If your best player on a weaker roster is not on the team, you got an issue, especially when everybody is on a come up. Literally, everybody from top to bottom. Let's say hypothetically the Clippers don't get James Harden. Well, I mean, they were still a top 5 seed. Yeah. You know, without Paul George and Kawhi playing, they could make the playoffs. But then again, who knows there? Timberwolves stop the cap. They are making the playoffs. The Lakers are making the playoffs. The Warriors will be a better team. They are making the playoffs. The Oklahoma City Thunder is the team that did not make the playoffs last year. It will be making the playoffs this year.
Damn.
SGA was balling. Damn near had him in last year himself. Now he get a little bit of help. You get some season more players that know what they're doing. Everybody chemistry is getting right. I think they can squeeze into that AC next year.
With the rookie of the year, right?
With the rookie of the year. Nah, I still got Scoop, man. I still got Scoop.
Man, I don't know about that one, Chief. The Grizzlies, like, I think at minimum the fact that
what would keep the Grizzlies into the playoffs next year?
Jaren taking a step up, which I think he probably will continue to, based on him playing in FIBA, and Desmond Bane being healthy, and he's going to be. I mean, they were without Ja at some point in the middle of the early part of the season, and Bane was scoring 25, 27, 30 points a game at one point. Marcus Smart is going to be a contributor. He is a veteran presence. He can knock down the shot. He can play elite defense, former DPOY. And Taylor Jenkins, I mean, I've had my beef with Taylor Jenkins, but he's a competent coach. He ain't terrible. I think he's good enough to tread water for the NBA season. And I mean, Ja Morant, he gonna come back at some point. It's gonna be within a reasonable amount of time where you have about 50-ish games left.
Hey, you think he's gonna play all 50 games?
I think he will. I think he will. I mean, unless he's holding a gun somewhere, if he's holding a gun, that's a whole different conversation. Then we talk something different. But if he's playing basketball with the injuries off and the weapons off on 2K, then we good. It's all that matters. We good. That's a
the chances of so he missing 25. That'll be 57 games. Yeah, 57 games left. Out of those 57 games, you're saying that
you ran her off.
I love you, Candy. You know me. I love my grits, but I'm a basketball quote unquote analyst, and this is me giving my analysis.
Yeah, I believe you.
You think Ja Morant is gonna play all 57 of those games? And if so, I got another 2 questions, real quick questions for you.
Okay.
First one, out of those 57 games, you think he's gonna play all 57?
I believe he'll play at least a majority of them. If he misses,
you didn't answer the question. You said all.
But he's not gonna play all. I mean, people miss a game for load management. Y'all know what I mean by that, though.
So
he'll play a majority of those games, like a significant amount.
So let's say Ja Morant gonna overall miss 30. Let me see. So he's gonna be out 25. Ja Morant gonna miss 32 games from 82, 50 games. Ja Morant played 50 games next season. You win half of those, at least that's 25.
And they're gonna win some games while he's out too. They've done it before. They did
it. True. Chemistry, though, which is bring me question number 2. What bigs do the Grizzlies have on this team?
That's what I want you to
That's
question number 2.
I'm gonna assume that Steven Adams gonna be back again. I don't know.
Okay, let's assume he does. You
got Steven Adams gonna be back. Of course, you got Jaren. I'm assuming they cool with Tillman. If they trade him, I don't know if they're gonna trade him or not. Well,
question mark.
They signed him. So they signed Tillman, so Tillman gonna be there. Clark out for the season. The way they play, I don't know if they're gonna bring in a big man, like a veteran big man or something, because they got all these young players. Somebody gonna be moved at some point during the season. It's too many young 6'9" wings. So I would imagine they're gonna trade 1 or 2 of them and bring in some random big man to kind of play for that backup big man role. So they're gonna bring somebody in at some point. You can't have 5, 6'9", 20-year-olds. You ain't gonna do that.
And
So-
speaking of bringing people in, last question: who do the Grizzlies have on the bench outside of Luke Kennard that you actually would trust?
That I would trust
Because Derrick Rose gonna be starting until, of course, Ja come back.
off the bench.
Question marks, my brother.
Fair point. It's a fair point.
Too many.
But
It's too many.
I think we're transitioning to being top heavy now because we're paying players now, so we gotta play Bang, we gotta play now, gotta play Jaren. So now we're top heavy, and now that we're top heavy, it's more about the coach now. So if we are not doing well, then I would have to assume that Jenkins is gonna be gone. That's what I'm gonna have to assume.
Cool with me. Cool with me. So again, the Grizzlies not in the playoffs. OKC in the playoffs. What you got, Sheik?
Only thing I can have about what you're saying, which ties into OKC and it's tied into what I started to show off with, is all point guards play very and extremely well with Steven Adams, no matter what. And so I didn't really recognize this until I looked back at like the stats of Russell Westbrook before I gave him his little flowers, kudos, whatever.
Yeah. And
I hear what you're saying though, too. I love the bold prediction about the Grizzlies not making the playoffs. Is this going to be the season where the Grizzlies don't do well without Ja Morant? Because the history has been they win and have winning records without him. But to your point, that was with a Tyus Jones,
a starting point guard in the in the NBA.
Yes, you go and call the Wizards the WNBA. That's fine. I understand. No disrespect to WNBA because I feel like the Aces might be able to beat them, but neither here nor there in regards to that. You bring up a very valid point, and so you have to look at. I mean, I know Savage said it's top heavy or starters heavy, but same thing with the Phoenix. Like, is there going to be those type of players that sign for low deals, and season's almost about to start now, to help with that? And I don't know. So I actually like this Grizzlies pick, to be honest. And I think they just kind of get it together and worry about it for the following season. Because I mean, they were the number 2 seed last season. What happened?
I like them better as a 4 or 5. I might say that earlier in another podcast. Like, if they a 4 or 5 seed, cool. Just stay away from 2. Just stay away because it ain't working. The spotlight is too bright for you. Speaking of which, they're not even on the Christmas game. Thank God. We don't need them on Christmas no more. I don't need no more. Do Thanksgiving, do New Year's, Halloween,
Martin Luther King Day,
Valentine's Day. Don't do Christmas. No more of that. Yeah. Let me get my picks before we get up out of here.
Yes, please.
So Eastern Conference, I've been on this team for a while. Atlanta Hawks, I don't believe it. I've never believed it. I will continue to not believe it. They really, honestly, they looked into getting into the playoffs in the first place. Last year, didn't they beat y'all, Sheedy? Is that what happened?
They did,
and that's some bullshit. Y'all laid down. Y'all laid down for them. Y'all,
on purpose.
we don't even want the Boston. Let's go ahead and get Milwaukee. And sure enough, what happened? A walk to the NBA Finals. Not a walk, but good enough to get to the NBA Finals. So I said the Falcons, because damn near the Falcons, damn near. But the Hawks, I don't believe it. I don't believe in DeJounte Murray with Trae Young. They got to pick one of the other. Personally, I would take DeJounte Murray because I feel like he's going to play defense. He still can shoot. He can score. He's tough. Trae Young, great player, amazing player. He's an all-star caliber player. He is not a fit for long-term success. He is a pass-first ball hog. That's what he is. The team that's going to make the playoffs, come on, man. It's Orlando Magic. You talked about the Pistons, too. It's going to be the Magic, man. Franz Wagner is playing Olympic ball. Paolo's playing Olympic FIBA basketball. They're going to be all right, man. And this is now the time. Paolo, we mentioned it earlier, is playing 5. I think he's going to get tougher. He's already a big dude. He's 6'10", 250. But playing against those bigs in the Olympic FIBA games is going to help him be a better finisher, which he already is a good finisher. But him fighting for rebounds, fighting for position is going to help him go back to the NBA in the more physical game where they call actual fouls, because they're not calling fouls at all for USA in FIBA. Western Conference, I'm not saying the Grizzlies because that to me is crazy. But I'm gonna say the Kings, man. I think the Kings caught lightning in the bottle last year, I think they had a very favorable matchup. Y'all's Lakers were hurt early on by having Russell Westbrook on the team. They are a much better roster going into this season, which means they're going to win, in theory, win more games. That division is tough. Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, Suns, all of which I'm assume have gotten better, which means what? The Kings are back to where they were in the basement of the Pacific Division. So I say they're not going to make it. And in place of them, I agree with Sheedy, Dallas Mavericks. And part of that is I think that the Grizzlies are going to lose more games, not miss the playoffs, but lose more games. And Dallas is going to be their biggest rival to win that division, the Southwest Division. So I have the Kings going out. I got the Mavericks going in.
What the Mavericks got on their team outside of Kyrie and Luka is what I'm thinking. Hold on.
They got Grant Williams from Boston. He down there now playing defense.
Grant Williams, Rashawn Holmes. They reestablished more defense for themselves. I definitely want to say that. Now you're gonna ask me about role players. I can't tell you, anybody else.
They say Tim Hardaway Jr. still breaking shots, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He ain't Penny Hardaway. He ain't Three to Hardaway. He Tim Hardaway.
Yeah.
I mean, can you?
I'll say so.
Luka was a MVP candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be an MVP candidate and not, be something towards the playoffs. So I chose them. I can't believe you said the King. Okay, y'all just said it's gonna undo the beam. Yes.
I'll plug that motherfucker.
Okay. But here, to your point, the division is much, much harder. And they haven't.
But all the teams made the playoffs last year.
I know. Yes. That won't happen again, man. That ain't happening again. I can't see that happening again.
Earned.
Because Dallas is out here. Utah's gonna get better.
Thunder.
Thunder.
I said OKC.
Pelicans,
okay.
The Pelicans,
maybe. With the Pelicans.
I said maybe. I ain't.
Yeah. Until he has a baby or has his baby, whatever.
Yeah. He don't even do nothing with nothing ever again. He just sit his ass down somewhere and stop talking to porn stars.
Yeah, and stop.
Next time I come to Memphis, oh my God. Don't throw rocks at me next time I pull up.
Yeah,
I ain't stay from my own hometown, damn it. Oh, shit.
But you gotta be bold, man. You gotta make those comments. I love it.
Then when we not making playoffs, I'm gonna be like I told you so. Really ain't gonna be welcome back.
We said something about the first 25 games. I had them going like 15-10. I feel like they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay, man. I'm telling you, they're gonna be okay.
10-15.
I'm this close to doing a bet with you too. I'm this close to doing a bet with you.
We ain't got to bet money. Think of something.
It should be.
You got my number.
Gonna be over 500 or under 500?
I told y'all way under.
Because they can't be 525 games.
I told y'all way under.
What's an odd number, Sheedy? So they're not gonna be 500.
That's what I'm saying. So they're either gonna be 13-12 or 12-13. So somebody's gonna win now.
Okay. Give me like a week to sleep on that because I'm this close. I'm like, dang.
We can bet on that 25 games. I'm telling you, way under 10 of them things. Okay. If that.
Okay. So we bringing back the bet to Three to Hardaway since y'all had the one last year with the jersey that didn't come to fruition. We coming into the new year with another bet. So we'll figure that out and we'll settle it in the group me. So yeah, anything else, gentlemen, before we get out of here?
Nah, man. A year in, another year of greatness. Let's get it. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us.
I got one thing to say. Make sure y'all get y'all school supply, get you your white folding chairs. We need that going into the new NBA season.
No, that's $25 now. Walmart shot the prices up. Y'all can come here if y'all want.
Another lost opportunity by Black people. We should have invested in them things.
First of all, y'all done got the government taking weed away. Now y'all taking away the white folding chairs. This has been a
taking weed away. I'm smoking that.
What? I'm saying the government is now in the distribution game of marijuana. Now they're in the distribution game of the white folding chairs, which has been a part of the church picnic for at least the 60, 70 years of the Black church. Let me not preach today.
No, because the folding chair was made for a Black man, so keep going. Exactly. Or made by a Black man. Keep going.
Exactly. And now Walmart, made by Sam Walton, a white man, is now gonna make a monopoly for the white chairs. But we're not gonna get into that today. Shout out to Montgomery, Alabama. They handle business down there. The Black
man. Hey, ain't no wide man. Stop that bullshit. There is no Y in Maine. Stop it.
Oh yeah, the Y. Yeah, there's no Y in Mane, y'all. This ain't like I always tell people, look at Gucci Mane's name. There you go. He did not have Gucci Mayne. It's Mane. Shout out to Gucci Mane who know how to spell Mane. That's vocab with Savage. All right. Anyway, we will see y'all next week. Y'all stay safe. Be blessed. Peace.